So, hello and welcome. My name is Steve Nobel, and today I'm speaking with Ahlmeirah Ariel Hallaire on soul contract reading. Ahlmeirah was born in France and raised in Ireland. She qualified there as a medical doctor in 1994 and practiced in Dublin. Some years later, Ahlmeirah had a spiritual awakening and later set up the Centre of Love and Enlightenment as a vehicle to support the Ascension process and to bring in the frequencies of unity consciousness. Ahlmeirah works intuitively to heal emotional, ancestral and mental programming. And she lives with a son in Sussex. So, hi Ahlmeirah.
Hi Steve.
How did this system come about?
It was brought through by an American gentleman called Frank Alper in the 1980s. And Frank actually died a few years ago. He was of Jewish descent, and so he knew the Kabbalistic system and the Jewish alphabet. And initially it came through him, and he used to call it the numerology of Moses, because apparently Moses was the being who channeled it to him. And apparently it was deemed in the higher dimensions that humanity was ready again for a tool of this power. Apparently it existed on planet Earth way back in the Atlantean times, but like many things it was lost.
I've got to say at this point that I have had some readings on my name, so I can speak from somebody who's experienced the system, and I do really value the input I've had with the system. But just for the benefit of the listeners, how does it work?
It's a very simple system which is based on the understanding that sound is creative. So the idea is that the sound of your name sets in motion a series of potentials. And of course, because we have free will in this earthly dimension, we have free will of what we do with these potentials. So for example, we might have the potential to become a great teacher, but we might not exploit that potential. We might stay hidden away in our shy little corner and thinking we're no good.
From what I remember and what I know, the system is based on the birth name, and you can discover the energies set in place by the soul for this lifetime, and the system describes karmic lessons, talents, goals, and soul destiny. Can you just go through these various levels of the system?
Yes. So just to give you a little bit of background, I've been using this system now for 19 years, and I probably have given over 1,000 readings, and it's incredibly accurate. So I can basically take somebody's name and not know anything about that person, and from the numbers that come out of that name, I can know a hell of a lot about what's going on for this person, where they're going. So basically you take the name, and each letter in the name will correspond to a number, because in Hebrew numbers and letters are the same. There's a little bit of mathematics that I'm not going to go into now, and you come out with a chart that looks like a Star of David. Star of David has basically got two triangles. So the downward pointing triangle represents the physical part of life, which is more predominant in our earlier life. And then the upward pointing triangle represents the spiritual part of life, which takes over as we get older, obviously. And in each of these triangles, there are three major areas. So karma is the first area. So karma basically means lessons. What are we learning about? And of course, we have lessons both physically and spiritually. So the karma will basically act in your life as, the hard stuff, the stuff that keeps coming around, that you keep going, am I going to learn this lesson? When you look back on your life, you go, yeah, I can see a theme here.
Yeah, for sure.
But the thing is that the karma is not set in stone. You can transmute it, of course. So for example, in my case, I have karmic sevens, which in the beginning of my life, I used to be very quiet. I didn't like sharing about myself. I was quite hidden. I kind of used to wear a mask a lot of the time, not show my emotions very much. And I've learned to open myself and to share of myself and not to be afraid of being myself with others. Because the energy of 7 is about sharing and networking, actually, and connecting with others.
Right.
So I've learned to overcome that part of me. And actually it was all based on this fear of rejection. So I was hiding because I was afraid that people would reject me. And then once I healed that wound inside of me, that I feel rejected, then I'm not scared anymore of being myself. And actually I find that people respond very well to me. So that's the karmic aspect. And as I mentioned, the lessons can be completely transmuted, so they become actually enormous qualities. And in a way, they're like you give to the world. The second aspect that we have is talents. And we all have innate qualities and talents, both at the physical level and at the spiritual level. And they're just there for our development, for our life, for our expression. And we feel good when we express our talents, of course. However, they act a little bit like muscles. If we all have muscles in our body, but of course, if you exercise and if you go to the gym and stuff, your muscles are nice and strong. But if you lay on the couch all day, your muscles get all weak and flabby. So it's the same with our qualities and talents. And often what happens is if somebody has a lot of innate spiritual talents, for example, they might be very intuitive. If they grew up in a family where intuition was not valued, like a very, very Cartesian family where everybody's very mental and, it's all got to be reasonable, then that person's qualities will not be able to flourish. And then it will become actually a kind of shadow. So sometimes the qualities are hidden, just very simply because they haven't been fostered. And then the last aspect is the goals. And we both have physical goals and also spiritual goals. And the goals act a bit like a carrot at the end of a stick, so they're like motivators. And when we achieve our goals, that's when we get a sense of satisfaction. That's when we get a sense of, yes, this is why I'm here. And we can rest easy, Yeah. So our goals motivate us. They keep us hoping and dreaming. And it's when we fulfill all of our chart, both at the physical and the spiritual level, that we feel whole and complete and like we're living our full potential.
So they do indicate, definitely can show someone the challenges they're likely to face in lifetime.
Oh, definitely. It's really clear in the chart.
And that knowledge will help them somehow? Is there kind of tips that come with it? Like, this is what you could do to work through this?
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do with any of the types of challenges. Because there are 22 numbers, there are 22 main challenges.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a nice, easy, simple system. It's like a map to understand your life. And of course, it's like when you navigate anything, any terrain, if you have a map, it's so much easier. And same thing, when you understand yourself, life becomes so much easier, and you can also have much more compassion for yourself.
Yeah.
And, okay, well, that's that's part of my lesson in life, so it's okay. I'm learning.
Is there a quality of strength of challenges? For example, would one set of numbers in a particular place indicate a very strong challenge?
Yes, some energies are more difficult to overcome than others.
What would be an example of that?
Well, I can give an example from my chart. I have a spiritual karma 9-9, and so the 9 is got to do with power. So in a karmic aspect, it's got to do with disempowerment, of course. So in my situation, I experienced a lot of disempowerment and abuse in my life, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, neglect, and I've had to overcome those types of wounds to come into my power. But of course, it's also part of my path, because if I hadn't had those experiences, I wouldn't be the healer and teacher that I am now. So I don't see them as bad things. I see them as part of my training. And because I've suffered, I have the compassion to understand others who suffer as well.
Yeah.
And as I've gone through disempowerment, through a process of empowerment, I can help others on that journey as well.
So challenges are there really to help us become more resourceful and to grow and wake up, perhaps?
Of course, that's how I see it. I don't see them as, a lesson that you've taken on because you've been bad in a previous life and you get all this bad karma. I don't see it like that.
Now, I know there's soul destiny, which is the middle of the two triangles, isn't there? Can you say something about that?
The soul destiny represents the overall purpose of your life. So it's like the guiding star, the guiding principle. And you resonate with that soul destiny no matter what. So in my case, I have a 9-9 in soul destiny, which is about being of service to humanity and waking up as much as possible. So that's what I do. I'm on a path of growth and I'm here to help others.
Yeah, I think I have originally had the same set of numbers there as well, so I know that's that one.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons we're friends, actually, because we have the same direction.
Ah, okay, all right. So if there are any other 9-9s out there, come and hang out with us. We should have a 9-9 party. So it's obviously helps someone understand their soul mission then, their potential, their challenges, their talents. Could someone look at that and get a sense of soul mission from this map?
Absolutely. It gives you a sense of, it makes sense of the past because it orders it and it gives meaning to it. A lot of people, they look at their past and they can't see, like, what's the point of all this that happened to me? It helps you to understand your present because it helps you to make sense of how you feel and what your urges are in terms of what you feel you want to do. And it helps also to clarify your direction. So it's a fantastic tool to understand yourself in any stage in life. And the wonderful thing about it is that the reading stays true for the rest of your life. So I sometimes get a card from a client who's received a reading 10 years ago, and the card says, "Thank you so much for the reading you gave me 10 years ago. Everything you said is coming true."
Lovely. Now, I guess parents, baby names, do you get people coming to you to help them optimize or to help them choose an optimum baby name?
Yes, and ideally that would be the situation for all of us. If we were living in a golden age on planet Earth, this would be available to all parents naming their children. That's how I would see it. Because if you can give a child the gift of an optimal name, their life will be so much easier. So I was actually talking about this with my son this morning, because of course I gave him an optimal name, if you like. So of course he had to come in with some karma. That's the rules of the third dimension. You can't come in without any karma. But it helps an awful lot when you've got the appropriate talent to overcome that karma. And that way you don't get stuck in life, which is what's happening with Gabriel. He's only 17 and he's already exhibiting a lot of talents. He's already opened up the channel. He's developing already his tools, his abilities as a healer, which is incredible. I've never seen somebody that young doing that. Yeah. I wish I'd had an optimized name.
Well, with two parents like he's got, that was kind of predictable, perhaps. Can I ask you about the map and relationship issues? How does it reveal, and what does it reveal about relationships?
It's a fantastic tool for understanding a relationship because you can see very clearly, first of all, what was the energy that drew people. Usually there's what we call a karmic lock, which is where one person will have a particular energy in karma and the other person will have the same energy but in a talent position. And that creates a magnetic draw between these two people because they can resolve each other's energies. So it's like they help each other. They're like a kind of lock and key. So you can see that really clearly. You can also see where there's potential clashes very clearly. Power clashes or clashes in terms of, vibration, energy, and also mission in life. And you can also help people understand each other about, how you can communicate better with your partner. Because from the chart, you can clearly see what works for that person. Are they more sensitive from an auditory perspective, or are they more kinesthetic, that kind of thing? So how would you approach, conflict resolution within a couple? So it's a fantastic counseling tool. I use it all the time in my sessions, whether I'm giving a reading or not. I use it all the time to understand my client, to help them understand themselves, and also to help them understand the relationships.
Do some people have quite problematic names?
Yes, some people do, and of course that's a chosen thing because we choose our names. And some people have very challenging charts, with kind of heavy karmic patterns, and it's like the talent energies are there, but they're maybe not quite fully activated, or they're not really powerful enough to overcome the karmic energies. And that can lead to a very difficult life, quite a lot of stuckness.
What can be done about that?
Multiple things. Of course, you can work on your issues, but one of the really powerful ways of helping with that is to optimize your name. And the idea with this is that your birth name is like the cake of your life, so it's there all the time. But a new name is like an icing. So just like with the cake analogy, if you put a nice icing on a cake, it can really improve a cake. And in fact, some of the ancient teachings, for example, in India or in the Jewish tradition, they knew that if somebody's life really wasn't working, they should go to the holy man and get a new name. And that new name would help them to get a better life. So it's new technology, but it's actually old technology.
Right. And what about things like business? I know that the system can help someone who's thinking of starting a business, creating a new website, or creating a new product.
Yes, it's very powerful in that way. So, of course, a business doesn't have a soul. A business is an emanation from a human being. But if you get the right numbers and the right energies in the business, which, first of all, relate to what the business is about, and also which are connected to the person or the people who are running that business, then you'll get a much better outcome. And it's really interesting, actually. You can study businesses, and you can study businesses that work and businesses that don't work, and you can directly link it to the numerology. It's really quite fascinating.
Right. Well, I know I had the Soul Matrix has been aligned with this system, so I've been very happy. It's been a very great website since it launched. So, whereas my old one didn't work so well, so it did definitely shift something. So, Ahlmeirah, if anybody wants to find out about trainings, I suppose they go to your website, do they? Centre of Love and Enlightenment.net?
That's right.
And when is the next training? How often do trainings happen?
I train usually about one group a year. It's a very kind of intense group. It takes about 5 days to learn the basics and to be able to get the birth name readings. And the reason it takes 5 days is basically because there's a lot of information. If you think about it, there's 22 numbers, so that's like 22 universes.
Right. Great. And when is the next training starting?
The next training is going to be in June, 12th to the 16th of June.
2019. Great.
2019, yeah.
Well, Ahlmeirah, thank you once again for chatting. And again, your website is centreofloveandenlightenment.net. A link will be going out with this podcast. Thanks, Ahlmeirah.
Thank you, Steve.